Hello and welcome to Time for Healing. I'm your host, Marion Porter of Star Winds. Today my special guest is Sean Lanning, who's going to tell us all about yoga. Sean, you're on my show. I'm so excited.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. So yoga. What got you into yoga?
Man, we're coming up on it. I think it was Thanksgiving Day in 2013. My girlfriend at the time basically dragged me kicking and screaming into yoga, which I think...
On Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Thanksgiving Day. It was just like a big thing. And I was like, all right, whatever. I have the day off. Let's go. And she brought me. And I thought all that I had known about yoga up to that point was that you would stretch and relax. And, there's some that are more kind of an exercise base. And after 25, 30 minutes of being in the class, it was a challenging class. There was this part where we got put on the ground, close your eyes, put a hand on your heart, put a hand on your belly, and I started weeping.
You cried from that?
Oh, yeah. And I was like, what is happening? Like every experience and every thought and every emotion I've ever had just like came up and came out of my face. And I was like, what? I thought I was here to exercise. What's going on?
Really?
And it was definitely a pivotal moment in my life. Even though I had no idea what was going on, I knew that this was something new.
That's fascinating. So yoga can bring up your emotions?
Oh, for sure. The best yoga classes I have ever taken are ones where I openly wept, sweating. I like to do hot power yoga, although that's not normally everything that I teach. It just drains you physically, and it allows you to start working some things emotionally. And I've found that the best yoga classes I've ever taken are ones where I cried, for sure.
So I'm fascinated because I never knew this about yoga. I thought yoga was just a bunch of stretches to make your spine strong. How does yoga tap into emotions?
That's a good question. I don't know if I know how it does, but I have some thoughts. Yoga is an old Sanskrit word that means yoke, which means union. So I like to kind of look at that on another level of, people like to say we're all one. I'm one with you. I'm one with this plant. I'm one with this carpet, but also if you operate under the assumption or the idea, at least, that mind, body, and soul are all one thing, I think that no matter, and this doesn't even matter what physical activity you're doing, you could be running a marathon, but if you open and work and heal your body, it allows you at the same time, honestly, whether you like it or not, to open and heal and work your emotions and your soul and your spirit. And for me, I didn't really have any control over it. I was working my body, and my emotions just came out. And I was very fascinated by that, so I explored it.
Wow. So the average person starting yoga can look forward to this, or is this an atypical experience?
I would imagine it was an atypical experience. I feel like maybe that was... not everyone's first experience with yoga, especially since most people will go to, for their first time, they go to a very beginner class that's not hot and might be taught at like a YMCA or a yoga studio or anywhere for that matter. But if you allow yourself to really get into it, it doesn't matter how challenging the class is. You can access your emotions, and a lot of times they come up and out, and which is something to work with. I don't necessarily want to cry like a child in every single yoga class, but by the time it's over, I realized that I had a major release, and my body feels good, my soul feels good, and stuff came up and out, whatever it might be.
Wow. Well, when the time comes, we'll see what comes up and out for me, and hopefully it'll be pleasant.
Hopefully.
Wow. So you went back after that emotional yoga class, huh?
Yeah, I was hooked. I felt a lot more relaxed after. My body felt a lot different the next day. I was super sore, but it's a lot like swimming. You use a lot of muscles that you don't normally use on an everyday basis. And the thing that I was really attracted to is I teach a vinyasa yoga, which is
what is that?
Means flow. So there's many different types of yoga where there's like long holds. And there's ones that are very athletic, where you're standing on your head and standing on one finger and doing all kinds of
We're not
crazy...
doing none of that fancy stuff, are we?
No, not today.
Well, let me tell you something. Mama's tired.
I can get you to do a headstand, but we're not going to do it right here.
Oh, I don't know. Would you like to see me do a headstand? Y'all better be saying no.
I think they would.
They would. I know they'd love it.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, but headstands, what is that all about? Because, you hear about everybody doing the headstands with yoga. What is that? What is the point there?
I think that is a very American thing, if I will. Like, yoga came over here. Yoga's been around for thousands of years, and there's a lot to it. It's a practice of a lifestyle, not necessarily an exercise. The part that came over here with the gurus and the swamis and the Beatles really was kind of the meditation part.
Wait. The Beatles brought yoga here?
Not exclusively, but they had quite a bit to do with it. Yeah, when they went over to India and started experimenting with all kinds of things, and George Harrison started playing the sitar, and then Woodstock happened. That was kind of when yoga got introduced to the United States, and over the last 50, 60 years has really become an exercise. There's really, I find, two parts of it. There's either the exercise part or the very meditative part. And there's actually 8 parts of yoga. There's 8 limbs, they say, like an octopus. And the movements, the poses, the headstands, the what have you, they're called the asanas, and then the meditation or the breath work, which is called pranayama, that's really only 2 parts of the 8.
What are the
There's
rest?
a lot more. Oh, don't ask me that. No, I'm just kidding. There's 6 other parts that all have to do with different forms of self-awareness, forms of non-judgment, and just life practices that actually have nothing to do with getting on a mat and moving your body. They're more mental practices, they're more spiritual practices, and you can get super academic, and there's books upon books upon books about yoga, and people practice any little or big amount of them that they want. But in this part of the country, or at least this part of the world, the movements, the postures, and the breath are really kind of what yoga is around here.
And that sounds lovely, because the rest of it sounds exhausting.
It's a lot, but it's a practice. It's not a perfect. I think that's a big part of it, is everyone's doing as much as they can when they can, and some people get super into the whole thing and go to India and live on a mountain for 3 months and fast and live in silence and whatnot, and some people go to the gym and stand on their head for an hour and a half and get a nicer abs,
Well, who doesn't want some nice abs?
I would love to have them. I don't currently possess such a thing, but that's all right.
I like to say I don't have a 6-pack, honey. I got a keg. But that's another story.
Nice. Perfect.
I thought so. So, wow, you actually went on to become a yoga teacher.
Yeah, I had only been, once I took that first class, I really had no understanding of what had happened that day. So most yoga studios have an introductory rate to get you hooked that's really cheap, which I purchased one of those, and I did yoga every single day for a week, for 7 days. And at the end of that week, I saw an advertisement for a teacher training at the studio that I was practicing at, and I saw it, and I didn't even think about it. It was like
You knew it was something you had to do.
It was just a sign. It was something I knew that I had to do. So I signed up immediately, and I did it, and then I did another one, and I've been through multiple trainings and stuff, and now I teach.
Wow. So how many hours yoga? Why does it go by like yoga 200, yoga 500? What number are you at? What is that all about? Where do you see that?
There's also a lot of acronyms, kind of like you see on a doctor or a lawyer's business card. So I'm what you call an ERYT 500. If you were to just go and do a yoga teacher training, chances are you're going to get your 200-hour certification, which is the bare minimum. Most yoga teachers are 200-hour certified. That means they've been through a yoga teacher training. After that, I went and did an additional 300, so that makes me a 500. And then I did another 1,000 hours of teaching and training and whatnot. And all my shamanic training actually counted towards my yoga certifications as well. So I got the E, which honestly, I don't know if that means expert or educator, but that means I can teach teachers and not just students.
So you said shamanic work, shamanism. Is there a connection between yoga and shamanism?
Oh, there's a huge connection. I would be willing to bet that if you went back far enough in time, that there was no delineation between the two. My teacher, or our teacher, actually, that's how I got into shamanism, is Natalie, who's been on this show, the Naughty Shaman. She taught a small chunk of my yoga teacher training. And I was so enamored by all of her philosophies and thoughts and just the things that came out of her mouth that I was like, I got to learn this too. So in 2015, I spent every weekend either at yoga teacher training or at shaman school. And I did that all year long. And she will tell you that, shamans and yogis were all that wisdom came from the mountains and is thousands and thousands of years old. And it's all the same practices. But as everything came down from the mountains and time went by, it's split into different paths.
Wow.
And which is why there's so many different kinds of yoga. There's so many different kinds of shamans, but it's really all the same original wisdom.
Wow. And so then yoga can be used for healing.
That's why I do it.
Really?
I'm clearly not super in shape, but I was drawn to yoga not because of its physical benefits, which it has. When I was, when I finished my teacher training, I was in the best shape of my life, but I looked at the physical benefits as just like a side effect. What was happening in my brain and what was happening in my soul as I really explored my own body and what it's capable of and pushing the limits of that and going inside and asking myself all these deep, difficult questions. That's what brought me a lot more peace in my life.
Wow.
Which is why I was drawn to both of them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we've reached the part of the program where we toast the camera and say, we love Dharma School.
We love Dharma School.
Always got to do that every now and again. Kristen, just edit this part out where I said we love Dharma School. We'll just edit that. I had to do it. So anyways, right. So that's fascinating. So I think now we're coming to the part in the show where we are going to do some yoga.
Excellent.
Yes.
I'm so glad you're going to join me.
All right. Looking forward to it. Well, look at us. We're on the floor now. We're ready to do some yoga. All right. So what's going on here now? What happens here?
Well, welcome to the mat.
Oh, the mat.
Lots of things happen right here. I like to call this 2x6 hunk of rubber my little church, if you will.
Really?
And anything and everything that you want to have happen on it can happen.
Wow.
First and foremost, it's a place to come and relax and be at peace and be with yourself. Not alone, with yourself.
Well, I'm with myself and with you and with all of you. So yay. So what happens next?
Well, I was thinking that I'd just give you a little snippet of, most classes are an hour to an hour and a half long.
We've got probably 13 minutes.
Bingo. So I'll give you a little snippet of like what I do in the beginning of class, which is just a super short centering, or it's like a meditation, just connecting to your body and your breath and the ground. And then we'll do a little flow that anybody could do at home, on their coffee break, at work, anywhere, to just help reconnect the self with body, mind, soul, breath.
And it kind of releases some stress.
Absolutely. I can't explain why, but there's just something that happens when you quiet the mind down and start connecting to yourself, whether it be your body or your breath, all the same, that tends to release stress.
Cool. Well, let's rock on.
Awesome. So, sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes if you're into it.
Eyes are closed. Should I be doing this, one of these deals?
Well, here's the thing.
Should I be doing one of these?
This is called easy, comfortable seat. That's the name of this pose. So first of all, ask yourself if the seat you're sitting in is easy. Ask yourself if the seat you're sitting in is comfortable. And sit
I'm not in
it.
a seat.
Well, you're in your seat.
Oh,
You're
my
on your
seat is comfy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. I'm in a Barca lounger, honey.
Exactly. So forget all of the things that you've ever seen on Instagram or YouTube about what yoga is supposed to look like.
Okay.
And sit in your easy, comfortable seat. Ask your hands where they feel like being.
They feel like being right here holding
And
me
so
up.
put them there.
I'm a star already.
You are.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to ask you to watch your breath.
With my eyes closed, I'm going to look at my breath.
You're going to use your mind's eye on the inside. And you're just going to watch your breath the same way you would watch a sunrise or a sunset, or the ocean waves coming in and out,
Okay.
or the stars at night. You're not trying to change your breath. You're not trying to force your breath. You're just watching it exactly as it is. And then in vinyasa, we link breath to movement. So as you breathe in, see if you can get a little taller without forcing, just allowing. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
And then as you exhale, you're just seeing where you can soften, simultaneously defying and surrendering to gravity, lifting on the ins, settling and sinking down on the outs.
Am I doing it?
Yeah, you are. Now take a big breath in all the way down to your belly and just let it go. Do that one more time. Take a huge breath in. And pretend it's the end of the day on Friday. Sigh it out. Good stuff, right?
Oh, I'm soft.
Now you're soft. All right, good place to start. Let's start in child's pose. So you're going to scoot back
What
a little
now?
bit. Yeah, we're going to move. We're going to move.
Oh, look at me. Wait, no, I'm still moving here.
You're going to find some child's pose. So you're going to you're going to try to make come into something like this. You're going to scoot
look at
forward.
this now.
Bring your
Look
big
at
toes
me.
together.
Oh, look at this. Yeah.
And then your knees can be together or apart, whatever's more
Oh,
comfortable.
let's put them apart.
And then you're going to walk your hands forward.
What?
You can keep your booty back, sink your hips back towards your heels.
Oh,
And then start walking forward.
there's nowhere to go.
Let your head go. There's so...
I'm going to fall. Like this?
somewhere to go. Yeah.
This is it?
So child's pose is a place where everybody starts usually, and it's a resting pose. So if you're ever
Says who?
if you're ever in a yoga class and it gets too hard, or like you're tired, or heck, you just feel like it, you can drop into child's pose. No one's ever going to judge you. You could be in aisle 6 and can't decide between rotini and macaroni and be like, you know what? I'm just going to child's pose here in the grocery store.
Come on.
Chances are somebody's going to be like, look at this, she's taking care of herself. They might do it next to you.
Oh, let me tell you something. They'll cart me away. I'm back into the pose.
Give it a
here.
shot sometime.
You don't know.
So
Here we are.
We're only going to be here for a couple breaths. So same thing as before. See where you can find a little length on the inhale between your pinky fingers and your hips.
What?
Yeah. So your side body is trying to get a little longer. Like
Where?
You walk your hands
My
forward
side
a little.
body?
Your side body, your sides.
Lord.
There you go.
There's no more. I'm going
And
to break
then on
my
the
arms.
exhale, you're seeing where you can get your hips a little heavier.
There's nowhere for them to go.
There. Whoa, look how far they just went.
Well, you pushed them. Look
then-
at me doing yoga.
You're doing yoga, love. And then come up to tabletop, which is just all fours.
What now? Oh, Lord, is my hair a mess? Let me look at the monitor.
It's beautiful.
Oh, look at the monitor. There we go. All right, I'm on all fours.
You're going to find your shoulders right over your wrists.
Yeah.
Your hips right over your knees.
Am I doing it?
You are.
Is it right?
And then here's where it's really important to link breath to movement. And if you can play this game, the linking of the two, throughout our whole practice, magic happens. On your inhale, you're going to lift your chin and your tailbone up, and your belly's going to drop. You're going to make a big smile with your spine. So inhale.
Oh, dear God, look at me.
As soon as you exhale, then you start coming down. Tuck your chin into your chest, tailbone to the floor, center of your spine pushes up to the sky. Really push the earth away. Exhale all the air out.
Have I done it?
Yep. As soon as you inhale, start coming up. We'll do one more. Lift up, look up till you're full of air. Exhale, bring it down.
Wow. Am I doing it?
You sure are. Come back to that flat back. 4 on the floor.
Is this it?
Yeah, and then bring your toes down under your heels.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, and then push forward into your hands. Lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog.
Hey, look at this.
Oh,
look at me doing yoga.
Around. You're probably
now
tighten the hamstrings.
Honey,
move
I'm
your
tight
feet
everywhere.
around. Bend your legs a lot like you're doing a mountain climber on The Price is
God,
Right.
No.
Yeah, just a little, just a little.
So, you know how you were saying there that things come up and people doing yoga here?
They sure do.
Yeah, well, besides my lunch, you said that emotions could come up. Not really feeling any emotions, but how would emotions come up out of this?
Walk your hands back to your feet, and I'll tell you all about it.
What?
Walk your hands back to your feet.
My
or
hands?
your feet to your hands. It doesn't matter.
Oh, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at this. Oh.
Bring your feet a little closer together and
look at this.
Bend your knees a whole bunch.
Oh,
and come
my.
Down here. And then we're going to stand up tall and rise up.
What was
just
that?
Come
what was
all
that?
the way up. Big breath in. Lift it up.
Okay, so you were saying there that when you're doing yoga, like emotions can come up. How's an emotion coming up when I'm like this? I'm trying to just stay up. I don't know how emotions can come up at all.
You feel your hamstrings right there?
Yeah.
All right, sit down.
Oh, my God. Look at me. I did yoga, everybody. I'm a champion. Whew. Wow.
A little warm already.
Ooh, yeah. So
that sensation that you were getting in your hamstrings there in downward facing dog, that lengthening, that pulling, like I was saying before, if you open your muscles, if you operate under the assumption that everything works together and everything is one, you can't open your body without opening your emotions or your spirit or your soul. And what happens, at least in my experience, is you know when like something bad happens to you and there's that phrase that you stuff it down?
Yeah.
Stuff it down, like that's a thing.
Yeah.
It's got to go somewhere when you stuff it down, and one of the places that it goes is into our muscles, namely our hamstrings, our hips, and our shoulders.
Really?
Yeah, when you go get a massage, what's one of the first places that they massage you?
The shoulders.
Right up here,
I've
right?
not had anyone go straight to the hamstrings before.
Well, you got to build a relationship, you know. But we hold a lot of our tension in our shoulders, and that's not just our muscles being tight because we lift and move things a lot. It's because we're storing our emotions in those parts of our body. And yoga is a way to loosen, lengthen, and open and strengthen those muscles. One of the side effects of opening, lengthening, and straightening muscles is you start to release those emotions that have been sitting in there, that stuffed down in there where we want nobody to see them for a really long time. And that can manifest in a lot of different ways. There's laughter yoga. There's and there's my favorite kind, which is where I end up crying.
Crying
because
yoga.
I'm in such a position where I'm like being like really physically tested and opening my body, and I end up opening my soul. And sometimes it leaks out, and usually this is the exit point.
Wow. I have never had yoga explained to me like that. Why doesn't everybody do yoga? You do yoga. You heard the man. This is some amazing stuff. Wow.
It's scary to a lot of people. A yoga studio where everybody's super in shape can be extremely intimidating, especially in my experience for males. It's mostly in this country kind of a female-dominated thing, but that's changing.
And you know, a lot of the women I know that do yoga are on the rather slender side. So a full figure gal such as myself, That's a little intimidating to walk into that. But yoga is for everybody? Yoga is
for everyone. My biggest piece of advice is if you take a yoga class and you don't like it, take another one.
Really?
Yeah, you got to find the teacher that's good for you. You got to find the practice that's good for you. Luckily, we live in a time where the availability of all these different styles of yoga is so huge that if you don't like something, you can just be on to the next day. And I was lucky enough to fall in love with the first class I took. It very easily could not have gone that way.
Wow.
Keep pushing is what I would say.
So we saw me do just a little bit, but you're capable of doing quite a lot of yoga. So we're getting to the end of the show. What do you say you show us what you got?
You want me to do some party tricks?
Yes, party tricks.
Geez.
Or just some fancy yoga.
Just some fancy stuff?
Yeah.
Well, we said we wouldn't do any headstands. I can do a headstand for you if you want.
Okay.
How's that? I'll do crow into a handstand.
I love it.
How's that sound?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then, so once you get into the handstand, I'm going to say the words that end the show.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Show us what you got.
I'm gonna do a little flying.
Yep.
Here we go. In case you're wondering, knees go up on the triceps. One toe comes off the floor. Another toe comes off the floor.
Hey.
And it's just a seesaw. Head comes down. Tripod here. Making a triangle out of my head and my hands. And then it's all abs and core. Feet come up, boom.
Wow, look at this. My God. Wow, this is a treat, isn't it? We don't see this every day. Well, I'll tell you, thank you, Sean Lanning, for coming and talking to us all about yoga. Look at him go, everybody. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for being on my show.
I love you.
Yes, let's
to you.
Oh, yes. Oh, look at me. Oh, well. Thank you for watching Time for Healing. What a great time learning about yoga, huh? Makes you kind of want to go out and see what yoga can do for you. And I hope you do. I know I will. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time for another great episode of Time for Healing. We see you.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.